Returned from a 3-day conference. The conference is put on by Gender Spectrum. The first day is a professional symposium, and the second and third days are for families, specifically parents and caregivers. Professionals also attend, and so I attended all 3 days. One of the workshops I attended really got me thinking. Some of the parents that I work with have very young transgender children. And a lot of times what they hear is, well, how do they know? They're too young to know, or it's just a phase. The question was posed, what does gender mean? And I thought, for many people, gender means male or female. They don't understand or comprehend that there's anything else. It's very binary for them. And I get that because it was like that for me too. I didn't know there was anything else. But if you have to think about it, what does gender mean? And for me, I realized that gender means how I feel inside. What's in my heart, not what is out there in the world, not what's between my legs, not even how I look, but what's in my heart. So then the question comes up, well, how do you know? How do you know what your gender is? And what is your gender? And I thought about that in relationship to how do you know you're heterosexual or how do you know you're homosexual? And I realized, well, I've always known. There isn't a time where I woke up one day and said, oh, I'm a girl. I just always felt feminine, felt like a girl. So I just always kind of knew. And I can't put an age on it. I can't put a time. I can't put a date. It's just something I know to be true about me. There's certain things that I feel are really true about me. One is I have brown eyes. That's really true. How do I know? I look in the mirror. But I know also that I'm female. I feel female. I look female. But mostly it's because I feel female. So when a young child says, I'm a boy, and the parent says, no, you're a girl, you have a vagina, that makes you a girl. I really see and understand in a way that I didn't before, that a young child who's old enough to say, this is who I am, knows the same way I knew. I didn't have to say it because I present and feel the gender I was born. But for a child who feels the gender opposite from what they were born, or maybe somewhere in between, we want to know how they know because it's foreign to us. But if we think about how did we know? When did we know? I think it gives a whole different perspective. So I invite you to think about gender in a little different way than you may have in the past. Start thinking about it from your own perspective. How did you know? When did you know? Why did you know? And then think again about a child being too young to really know. What's the difference between gender identity and gender presentation? Gender identity is how one feels inside. For me, I identify feminine. I feel like a woman. My gender identity is a woman. For someone who's transgender, they may identify as the gender that is opposite from the one they were born. So someone may be born and identified as female, but really feels male. But then there is also a whole range in between. Those people refer to themselves as non-binary, sometimes genderqueer, and they may feel like neither male or female. They may feel like both male or female, or they may go somewhere in between on any given day. So that's their gender identity, how they feel inside in their heart. And then there's gender presentation. Gender presentation is how you look to the outside world, or how one presents themselves to the outside world. That can be based on their haircut, on the type of clothes that they wear, their mannerisms, and that type of thing. I met someone who identifies as non-binary and uses pronouns he, him, or they and their. So I'll keep it simple, call him he. he said that his presentation is very male. He was born female. His presentation is very male. He has a beard. He has a very hairy chest, very muscular. You would spot him and say, that's a male. That's how he chooses to present. That's how he's comfortable presenting. He presents male. But inside, he said that he feels more towards the middle. He doesn't really identify or feel female, but he doesn't feel strictly male either. And so that's the difference, is he looks male, he presents as male, but he feels somewhere in the middle. And so it's really brought it home to me by looking at him and hearing his explanation, the difference between gender presentation, gender identity, how someone presents themselves, and how they actually feel inside. So what it taught me is not to make assumptions. And that means that I don't know what anybody else's gender identity is based on what I'm seeing with my eyes. And so one of the ways to ask or to find out is just to ask, what pronouns do you prefer? So if I see someone that looks male, not for me not to assume he and him are the pronouns that that person prefers. It may be something altogether different. It's just a short little lesson for you on the differences, and I hope you found this useful. Thanks.